I am Hermes, messenger of the gods. Many people feel that we live within a sort of prison, although it's a prison of our own creation. Let me explain. In dualism, the state of splitting reality into opposing forces, energy is usually polarized in one direction or the other. The goal of this ascensional process is to self-realize into a whole human being capable of expressing unconditional love, thereby merging this polarity from separation into unification. You are a tiny hologram, a microcosmic representation and creative engine of this Earth system. Your ability to manifest for yourself inevitably adds weight to the very energies you're cooperating with and expressing. So, by healing yourself, you help heal the world. This healing process is called individuation. Individuation is the process of transformation where the personal and collective unconscious is brought into the conscious to be assimilated into the whole personality. In the state of dualism, we have conceived our own psyches as a bipolar system, embracing a never-ending series of opposites, light and dark, conscious and unconscious, good and bad, righteous and evil. These opposites, when they're harmonized, create a smooth-flowing dynamic system, a complete being fully in tune with themselves and their environment. But when one of the opposing forces is repressed, and it usually is, an unresolved tension grows in the psyche. This tension by default creates dis-ease within the individual, and this state of disharmony funnels into the collective, further strengthening the paradigm of dualism. This is the state many of us have been in. We've been dominated by the unconscious because of this repression. Modes of behavior and thought which we've abandoned are therefore acted out through dogmatic thinking, inflexible attitudes towards others and ourselves, judgmental thoughts and behaviors, and fear-based mentalities. These projections are sustained by adhering to blame and victim consciousness, rather than looking within and healing our own personal hologram. Let me repeat that. The reason we have been in a state of dualism, and therefore discomfort, is because of the situations, emotions, and thought forms our unconscious projects onto our external holographic reality, which in turn can create a loop of suffering by suspending the ability to achieve wholeness in favor of victim and scarcity-based consciousness. So the question we must ask ourselves is, do we look at our shadows and make friends with them, or do we further split ourselves from them, which require attention before being able to release that built-up energy? Just as there are individual shadows, there are also larger shadows of the body of humanity, which can either be channeled into creating heaven on earth, or continually controlled and suppressed, leading to hell on earth. And both of these realities, heaven and hell, are possible at all times because Earth is literally the heart, the center of this universe, able to funnel energies equally from the higher and lower realms. The Earth occupies a very unique position, partaking of the spheres above and below equally, for it is at the same time the highest of the lowest realms and the lowest of the highest realms. This is why Earth has been a spiritual battleground of sorts, because all of the realms are tugging at it, and these overlapping frequencies make it possible to tap into any state one focuses on. It's the ultimate hall of mirrors, the ultimate dualistic construct to conquer. So only when the shadow starts being consciously drawn upon and learned from can the dualism be resolved. You know you're in the process of individuation when you realize the negative in the positive and the positive in the negative. polarities begin to close up, and the realization that all is in perfect harmony, always, in all ways, sets in. This is unity consciousness, the state of maintaining wholeness within and therefore without. It's the concept of alchemy, taking in energy or consciousness in any form and transforming it into a higher level of expression and sending that expression out as loving intention to heal the world. This diagram displays the metaphor of the energy extraction matrix many find themselves attached to right now, with the widespread reversal of the Kundalini energy preventing natural interconnected toroidal flow. This turns people into batteries who express suffering and fear, which archonic entities, or demons, harvest. Although this is a process aided by these shadow beings, these vulnerable states which are fed off of can only be expressed if one is submitting to dualistic and scarcity-based thinking. Essentially, one prevents themselves from going through the process of individuation, allowing themselves, and thus humanity, to be that much more controlled through the collective unconscious. It is only through this suppression and the submission to the fear-ridden state which keeps the energy extraction matrix alive and everything it represents. Hierarchical structures, control-based constructs such as money, the genetic modification of our food, mind control programming like television, the media, etc. On a quantum level, everything is connected within the zero-point field. So when we become aware of this flow and adopt an open heart, we observe the careful guidance orchestrated by a series of synchronicities along our path. This energetic flow is becoming stronger and stronger as more people connect with their unconscious and transmute the parts of themselves which do not correspond to unity consciousness. Synchronicities become more common as we develop a personal and more complete relationship with the universe. We become active participants within creation rather than a passive bystander who is manipulated into manifesting another's creation. Synchronicity is a causal chain that resides outside the program of linear time and space, outside of physical reality. And this synchronicity is absolutely to be followed. This is the guidance we are granted once we step onto the path of wholeness. The insistence that reality is set in stone, an objective linear string of events and results, is a product of remaining in the program of separation, of fragmentation. Objective reality does not exist, despite its apparent solidity. The universe is at heart an ever-changing, detailed hologram. And in this holographic universe, which is a byproduct of what consciousness is being funneled through its field, there are no limits to the extent to which we can alter the fabric of reality. What we perceive as the external is only a canvas waiting for us to draw upon it any picture we want. So let's merge this polarity. We can be an individual while maintaining a sense of unity within the collective. The ego and the spirit can work together to create something magnificent for ourselves and the rest of the living souls. As Carl Jung once wrote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. I am Hermes, messenger of the gods. I love you all.